Hi, my name's Jay and welcome to my channel. In 2023, me and my family bought a rural cottage with 10 acres in the beautiful Welsh mountains. We plan to renovate our home, rewild the land, grow our own food and generally live a more sustainable life, all whilst having fun along the way. If you're new here, why not click subscribe, follow our journey and escape to rural Wales.
Hi you guys, welcome back to North Wales. I hope you're all well. So today's a little bit of a different video. Today I'm going to talk to you about alcoholism. It's been just over 2 years now since I had my last alcoholic drink. And it's January the 12th today. I quit January the 3rd, 2023. So yeah, just over 2 years ago. And as it's January right now, many of you will be doing dry January. I thought I'd talk to you about this subject really just to help some of you who perhaps have similar experiences to me growing up and a similar sort of relationship to alcohol, and yeah, help you along the way. So how did it all start for me? I guess as a child, like many of us, my parents drank alcohol. I've known for as long as I can remember what alcohol is. I've known that beer is something that you can't drink when you're little because it makes you feel funny. I know that alcohol is something that mum and dad drinks. And I've always, I guess, known that smell of alcohol on my parents' breath when they give you a kiss. It's just kind of always been there, you know. But I never really considered it to be anything wrong as a child, you know. We live in a strange society here in the UK. Not drinking is frowned upon. Drinking is seen as fantastic, you know. And yeah, it's, you know, we long for that first pint that we can have in the pub with our dad legally, you know, when we turn 18, you know. We still drink from our parents. Sometimes our parents even buy it for us and we go to friends' houses for parties as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, or we go to the park drinking, and it's just good fun. You know, it's seen as something that you do when you're enjoying yourself. However, drinking is a stimulant, it's a depressant, it damages you, it causes a lot of damage, and a lot of what I would say is wrong with our society in the UK is related to alcohol. There's you know, other things, but I would say alcohol is a big problem here in the UK. And I guess it was for me. In my early adult life, 17, 18, I would go out with my friends a lot, I would drink a lot, I would enjoy myself, so I'd go around friends' houses, I'd drink, I was always around friends, always having drinks, always enjoying myself, and that's just how it was, you know. And it's obviously expensive, so you live month to month drinking, spending all of your money going out drinking, you're not putting any money aside, that is all your life is, just socialising, drinking, having fun. And it's seen as something that you do to talk to people, to go out, to enjoy yourself, to kind of, it's kind of like a social thing, isn't it, you know? But when you get older and you go out less and people are settling down, and you start to realise that, you know, drinking doesn't stay as a social thing. You know, you start doing it on your own. And for me, that's what I would do. I would buy a few beers after work, go home and have a few drinks, and, you know, and over the years it kind of progressed, you know. So whereas I'd buy a couple of beers and go home and drink them a couple of times a week, you know, I found that throughout stages in my life, I was buying 4 beers and going home and drinking them all. Now, I would say in my mid to late 20s, it got a little bit worse. And by the way, at the time, I did not see it as a problem at all. I felt absolutely fine. I was functioning fine. I was getting up. I was going to work. I was feeling good. I was maybe a bit groggy in the mornings, but by 9:30, once I'd had my coffee at work and I was started working, I'd forget about it and I'd just carry on and everything was fine. But the more it went on, and I would say in my late 20s, early 30s, particularly during lockdown as well, I found my drinking escalated, and I would drink, I would say, really until I felt like I needed to go to bed. Sometimes that would be sort of 4 or 5 beers. Sometimes that would be, but it got to the point where it was 6, 7, 8, 5.5% ales that I would drink. I would drink whiskey as well. I'd really enjoyed drinking whiskey. And yeah, I would drink until I fall asleep. But what I would usually find is if I had one drink, I'd have to continue. Whereas I found that if I didn't have a drink or I didn't buy any beers on the way home, I was able to just be absolutely fine and just not drink, go to bed. But it would only be a few days where I wouldn't buy some beers. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I felt like I needed to have some drinks. So Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night would usually involve heavily drinking for me. Although I moved to Wales 7 or 8 years ago now, and moved away from a lot of the friends that I had where I would go out drinking, who I would go out drinking with, I would go and visit them every now and then down to Brighton, and any sessions would involve heavily drinking, binge drinking to the point where I would make a complete fool out of myself, or at least I thought I did the following day. And I would think I did. One, usually because I did, and two, because I couldn't remember anything that happened after, say, my 6th or 7th pint. Some of you may relate to that. But again, at the time, I didn't really see it as a problem. When I had my first son in my mid-30s, I would drink, and I found it actually quite difficult parenting, particularly at night time when I'd be drinking. I would hear a cry from upstairs, and it would just be an effort, to go up, comfort my son, be there for him, help him get back to sleep. I found it a major chore, and I didn't really attribute that to alcohol, because, as I say, I didn't really think it was a problem. But now I look back, I know that it was. But I think it was around September time, 2022, and I was feeling rough. I wasn't feeling good at all. As I say, I had my first son. I didn't feel right. I felt lethargic. I felt tired. My insides just didn't feel quite right. So I went to the doctors, and I had a blood test, and my blood reading came back with high liver enzymes, high liver issues, high liver enzymes. And what that is your liver's a working organ. The harder it works, the more dead cells it produces. Obviously, the less it works, the less dead cells it produces. So a healthy liver, less dead cells. Not healthy liver, it's having to work harder, more dead cells. Now the reading should be under 40. My reading was 80. So that's double the max that it should have been, and that was my reading. So the doctor said to me, look, why don't you quit drinking for 3 months? I thought, yeah, no problem at all. Absolutely no worries. I'll quit drinking for 3 months. I'll get my reading back down. Then I know what it is, and then I'll and then I'll just watch it a little bit. I'll cut down. I'll only drink on weekends. I'll only have 4 beers, or I'll only have 6 beers. I won't drink a litre of whiskey on a Saturday, you know. I mean, it just seems absolutely crazy now, me saying it, you know. So that's what I did. I quit drinking. And yeah, as I say, it was around September 2022. And I found it tough. I really, really found it tough, because I came to realise that who was I having fun when I was not drinking? Everything about my personality was, with my friends and people around me, even with my parents, was me drinking and being tipsy and being drunk. Who was I without that? Who really am I? Who is this version of myself, not the drunk version of myself? Is this version of myself fun? And at that time, I didn't think so, you know. And I think that's the challenge that many of us have, you know. Society sees us as, if you are going out and you're not drinking, you are boring. Whereas if you're drinking, you're fun, you know. And that's why many of us start drinking again, because we think of ourselves as being boring when we're not drinking, when we're out. And we can't enjoy ourselves when we're going out. So we're not going to go out. I'm not going to go out when I'm not drinking. And all these realizations came to me, you know. And, you know, I thought back to my parents drinking when I was young, and smelling alcohol on my parents' breath. And I would say as well now, my parents have been trying to cut down on drinking and trying to do dry January and failing, and secret drinking and that sort of thing. And, you know, I used to, when I was drinking, I used to look at that and frown upon that. However, that was probably the direction that I was heading in, you know. So as I say, all these realizations just kind of came to me around that time. And I had to really soul search. Now, I was very lucky. I was able to last a lot of those 3 months of non-drinking without having a drink. However, it got to the end of the 3 months, and it was around 2.5 months, and I was helping a friend move house, and I helped him move house, and he said, "Here you go, have a beer to celebrate." And I thought, "Oh, I best not say anything that I'm not drinking, so I'll just drink the drink." So I drank the drink, and then I'd broken that 3 months. I hadn't done it. So I had unsuccessfully lasted those 3 months without having a drink, even though my blood reading was telling me that something was wrong. So that was me. I had become what my parents were. Do I want to be the kind of... Do I want to raise my children the same way that many of us were raised with our parents, where drinking is a part of society? You look at your parents and you see them drinking, having fun, and that is the way that it is, and that's the way that you will be when you grow up. No, I just didn't want that. Anyway, I had some drinks over Christmas when I went back down to Brighton to visit my parents. A few drinks and nights of a lot of drinking. And it got to January, and I had my blood test, and it got worse. My liver reading had gone up to 85 from 80. Now, I spoke to the doctor and I said, "Look, I must admit, I was 2.5 months off the drink, but I had a beer about 2.5 months in, and just over the Christmas period, just now, I had quite a bit. There was a few nights where I binged." And the doctor said, "Well, it should still improve." Now, what the doctor asked me to do for the next 3 months is try and control my portion sizes and control my eating. Now, what I actually did for the next 3 months after that was controlled my portion sizes, went on a specific type of diet to fix fatty foods. And what I actually found was when I did my blood test 3 months later, my liver reading went down to 20. So actually it was more related to my diet rather than the drinking. However, I left the doctors that day and I really had a decision to make. You know, I'd done very well. I'd lasted 2.5 months before I had a drink. It was very challenging, but I, at that time, always had the intention of drinking again. But I felt like this time I had a decision to make. Do I go one way and continue and get to a point where I've done so much damage to myself that it's irreversible, or I've come to rely on it so much that I've, there's no way out? Or do I go another way and walk into the dark a little bit and be a better parent, change that mold, learn to control my ups and downs in life without any sort of stimulant, learn who I was when I was not drinking, and really find out who I am, who I really am. And that's the path that I decided to take, and it was very difficult. How did I do it? So firstly, I had a wife who is very supportive, and she could take or leave drinking, to be honest. She was really good. She'd been through a pregnancy without drinking at all. It's something that she found quite easy. So she was just a great support for me, really. So make sure that you have somebody around you who can help. If you don't have anybody around you, get yourself to an AA meeting or something similar where you can go and find like-minded people who can support you and help you. But I was very lucky. My wife was my rock during that time. But also I was learning to retrain my mind a little bit on how I think about alcohol. I had to realise that I was a person who doesn't drink. So whenever somebody would say, do you want to drink? I would say, I don't drink. I don't drink. I'm not off drinking or given up drinking, or, people didn't have to know my story. It was, I don't drink, thanks. And it was literally that simple, But also retraining my mind as well, because I always considered drinking. Whenever you'd go out drinking with your friends, there was always, I would find 3 sort of stages. There's the first stage where you first get there, you get a few beers in, you get a few rounds in, you have a few drinks, and you're sort of warming up, and you're starting to get giddy, and it's enjoyable. And then there's the 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, 6 pints, and you're getting a bit giddy. You're starting to feel drunk. You are pushing your boundaries a little bit, I would say. And then after that, there's obviously that stage, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, how many you have, where you lose the ability to create short-term and long-term memories. You are on complete autopilot. You're spending money stupidly. And it's just a complete and utter pointless exercise. But I trained my mind when I was meeting up with my friends to have a non-alcoholic beer and be in that first state of meeting up, getting a few rounds in, being a bit giddy, warming up, enjoying yourself. I could be in that state, having non-alcoholic drinks. That state was exactly the same whether I was drinking alcohol or drinking non-alcoholic beers when I'm out. So it was almost like a placebo effect. Or really the truth is, I was just enjoying meeting up with my friends and having a good time. But the great thing is, when I didn't drink alcohol, I could stay in that state all throughout the night. And when I felt tired, I could go home, I could drive home, I could go to bed, I could go to sleep, I could wake up the next day and just enjoy my next day positively, you know. So yeah, non-alcoholic beers was a placebo for me. It really, really was. And I would, and still to this day, I follow that mentality. That mentality is still there. You know, whenever I go out and meet up with friends, I will drink non-alcoholic beers and I will feel like I am drinking alcohol. But I will enjoy it so much more. It's a positive thing. And many of us go out and they go, oh, I'm drinking non-alcoholic beers. Yeah, ho, ho. A lot of the time your friends don't actually care. They really don't. You think they care, but they don't. My friends were absolutely brilliant. Whenever I go out with them, they know that I don't drink. They'll go to the bar, they'll buy me a non-alcoholic beer. We'll cheers as we normally would. Cheers, boys, have a drink. And we'd carry on with our game of pool. And it wouldn't even be a discussion. The more that you make yourself tell people how different you are by not drinking, the more that you say, oh, another non-alcoholic beer, ha 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 ha, the more that you make yourself look stupid to others, the more you will feel stupid and the more you will feel negatively about it. So see it as a positive. You are drinking non-alcoholic beer, you are feeling good, you're enjoying yourself, it's great to see your friends, the whole experience is going to be wonderful, you know, and you have to retrain your mind. And I'm sorry to say, if you are around people and you are around friends who make you look stupid or make you feel stupid for not drinking alcohol, you need to think about number one. You need to think about, are these the type of people that I should be around? But 9 times out of 10, you will find that a lot of your friends, 9 times out of 10, will treat you exactly the same as they treated you before because they love you and they're your good friends. So try it. Drink non-alcoholic beer, but instead of making a big deal out of it and making yourself feel stupid, be positive about it. Don't talk about it. Just enjoy the environment, enjoy your friends, you know. The other thing as well is that thing that people say where, oh, being around drunk people is just so annoying when you're not drinking. Again, retrain your mind, you know. When they start acting silly or being silly, just be silly yourself, you know. Just laugh. You know, just say silly things or act silly or just be a bit giddy or a bit funny, you know. Why not? You know, really, why not? It's easy when you get used to it, you know. Take it for what it is, you know. You don't have to alienate yourself from other people just because they're drunk and you're not. Because when they're drunk, they're not going to alienate themselves from you, that's for sure. They're just going to enjoy themselves. So enjoy yourself, have good fun, you know. And the more that you do that, the easier it gets. Now, again, I was the kind of drinker where if I didn't buy alcohol, it wouldn't be a problem. So for me, binge drinking was very, very much a part of me. Now I do not drink at home. I don't buy alcohol, it's not something that I do. But occasionally for a treat, I will buy non-alcoholic beers. And I see that as a treat. And when I'm buying too many non-alcoholic beers, I see that as a problem now. Not drinking too many actual beers. Oh, I'm buying too many non-alcoholic beers now. I need to cut down a little bit. So instead of going round in circles of me trying to cut down on my drinking alcohol and coming off that, I'm sort of doing that with non-alcoholic beers, which is a little bit strange now. So these are the coping mechanisms for me, and there's lots of different ways that you can do it. But how has not drinking alcohol changed me? Whenever something bad happens in my life, where I would normally rely on alcohol, I'm able to kind of deal with those things a lot better now. I feel better in the mornings. My moods are better. I like myself a lot more, I would say. My bank balance is a lot better. And just, I would say I'm a better parent. Every single part of my life is better now. And I'm just, yeah, as I say, generally just a happier person, you know. And I really recommend it. I would. Even if you're somebody who is doing dry January right now, and you have every intention of drinking again, have a think about it, you know, because you can still be a great person and enjoy yourself and have fun in those social situations without drinking alcohol. I'm living proof of that. You can. So why? What is the point in drinking alcohol? You know? So give it a try. But that's it really. I've been sober over 2 years now. I have no intentions of drinking alcohol ever again. It's not part of my life. And I don't do it for anyone else other than myself. I do it for my children, I would say. Actually, that is a lie. I do it for my children. My children are going to be raised in a household where alcohol isn't a thing. And everything is just great. So yeah, as I say, hopefully my story and how I've dealt with it and it will help you if you have experienced a similar thing. And thank you very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. This channel is normally about me sort of doing some building work, and I'm building a homestead, growing a forest here in North Wales. So if you want to follow me on my journey, feel free to subscribe. But I'd love to hear as well about your journey with alcohol and how you feel about alcohol in the comment section below. So please leave me a comment. I'll try and answer every single comment. And thank you for watching, guys, if you've lasted till the end. And much love, and hopefully see you on the next video. Bye.